Beneath the deceptive calm of the cobalt Kentucky skies, the labyrinthine heart of Lexington pulsed with a life all its own. A collage of limestone structures, it was aptly named the City of Stone and Shadows. William Hart, a fledgling journalist with spectacles teetering on his nose and a notebook ever clutched in his calloused hands, trod its winding streets with an earnest determination. He was a generous soul, with an undying spark of sincerity etched deep into his hazel eyes. Yet the shadow of an unspoken trauma lurked just beneath the surface. It made his jaw clench and eyes dart across the gray cityscape in quiet paranoia. His footfalls echoed through the city's eerie serenity, as if he was intruding upon a dormant beast. One such sojourn led him to a disquieting discovery. A series of grave robberies had begun to stir the city's shadows, each echoing around a sullen structure, a homeless shelter that seemed lost in time. The old edifice bore the architectural scars of the bygone era, weather-beaten bricks and cobwebbed windows that bore silent witness to untold tales. A man of boundless resolve, William decided to delve deeper. Career advancement whispered its siren call, but it was curiosity, the bane and blessing of every journalist, which truly drove him. He approached the shelter, the first monument on his investigation. From the gnarled oak tree standing guard by its entrance, to the silhouettes lurking within, everything seemed shrouded in a cryptic pallor. Within its cold walls, the echoes of the city's forgotten souls resonated. His first interaction was with a man named Edgar, an aging soul with eyes that held universes of stories. "Winters have become graver, and graves have become empty," he murmured, hands trembling around a tin mug. In the dimly lit corners of the shelter, he spent hours, days even, extending generous tokens and kind words to earn the trust of its occupants. His note-filled days turned into weeks, then months, unraveling not just stories of theft, but life stories etched in hardship and survival. As he continued to converse with the shelter's inhabitants, his notebook began to fill with more than just facts. He scribbled about Lily's infectious laughter that echoed in the shelter's hallways, the raw determination in young Ben's eyes, and the unsettling nightmares that Mary whispered about as she often woke trembling in her sleep. His progress was slow, painfully so, but his relentless pursuit seemed to blur the passing of time. Lexington's languid pulse gradually seeped into his veins, merging with his own. He felt its breath in the whispers of the night, its heartbeat in the cobbled paths beneath his weary feet, its dreams in the gazes of the people he had begun to deeply care for. But he was also met with a disconcerting revelation. Beneath the immediate concerns of the grave robberies, something more sinister seemed to stir in the city's heart. Edgar's parting words one cold evening hinted at a frightening undercurrent. "The gravest danger ain't the empty graves, lad," he had whispered, his breath frosting in the frigid air, "but what comes out of them when the city sleeps." In the spectral half-light of Lexington, the homeless shelter began to feel less a structure of brick and mortar and more a living entity, its pulse beating in sync with the city's ebb and flow. It was within these pulsating walls that William found himself mired, the cryptic shelter serving as both his refuge and his riddle. His commitment to the homeless denizens didn't falter. He offered quiet companionship to Lily as she weaved tales of yesteryears. He shared soft-spoken words of encouragement with Ben, nourishing his fragile dreams. He listened patiently to Mary's midnight terrors, the candlelight casting ghoulish shadows across her troubled visage. With each passing day, their trust in him deepened, allowing him to slowly peel back the layers of the cryptic shelter. His notebook became a tapestry of the shelter's life, threaded with every conversation, observation, and eerie midnight anecdote. Amidst this slow unraveling, his career ambitions began to play second fiddle, succumbing to the profound empathy he found amidst the ragged blankets and whispered hopes. However, it was this very empathy that turned into a mirror, reflecting a darker, more sinister reality. The grave robberies seemed to circle the shelter like a carrion bird, the connections ever present yet frustratingly elusive. Then an insidious hint emerged from the fractured mosaic. As he leafed through his crowded pages one sleepless night, he stumbled upon a recounting of Mary's nightmares, a recurring dread of shadowy figures cavorting under a moonless sky, a ritual enacted around an open grave. A chill trickled down his spine as Edgar's words echoed in his mind. What comes out of him when the city sleeps? The whisper of something more sinister took form, a growing specter feeding off his mounting dread. It wasn't just the displaced earth and disturbed rest of the departed. The robbed graves were merely the outermost layer of a deeper, more terrifying design. His ensuing interactions with the shelter's occupants took on a different hue. Underneath the casual conversation, he searched for any reference to these shadowy rituals, his once gentle questions now tinged with a desperate urgency. Each nod, each hesitated response, and each averted gaze seemed to confirm his fears. The cryptic shelter was not just a bystander in the grave robberies. It was an unwitting participant. In the dead of one night, his feverish exploration led him to an unsettling discovery. The aging shelter bore an uncanny symbol engraved in the hidden recesses of its foundation, an eerie emblem that matched Mary's frantic drawings of her nightmare visions. The shelter, the symbol, and the grave robberies entwined themselves into a daunting knot in his mind. A sinister revelation that became the eerie crescendo to the events about to unfold. The city of Lexington was no longer just a city, it was a stage, and upon it, a chilling drama was being orchestrated, one that reached far beyond the understanding of its humble participants. His discovery, as dread-inspiring as it was, only fueled his determination. His path, though shrouded in unknown cosmic terrors, was clearer than ever. As he stood on the precipice of the disturbing revelation, his journey took him deeper into the looming dread of the unseen nightmare. In the throbbing heart of Lexington, the cryptic shelter seemed to pulse with an eerie energy. It was no longer just an ancient edifice for William. Instead, it served as an ominous gateway to a reality he had never fathomed, where the border between the material and the cosmic was terrifyingly thin. His gaze, once filled with the burning curiosity of a journalist, was now shrouded with a veil of trepidation. His persona evolved, his resilience simmering beneath a growing sense of dread. His once clear career aspirations now looked like insignificant specks in the vast cosmic labyrinth he was now navigating. His persistent explorations had dredged up ancient echoes from Lexington's underbelly. The whispers of old tales and folklore, previously dismissed as mere vagrant chatter, now resonated with a frightening reality. The stories told of a shadowy entity, a presence that had slumbered beneath the city's foundations for eons. And it was the grave robberies, the rituals, and the chilling symbol etched into the shelter's foundation that seemed to act as its harbingers. His paranoia, that old specter of his past, began to claw its way to the surface. The innocent shadows of Lexington morphed into lurking nightmares. The mundane cityscape became an encrypted chronicle, and his own dreams started resonating with echoes of Mary's chilling visions. The line between his sanity and the terrible reality he was uncovering grew disconcertingly thin. In the bowels of the cryptic shelter, he found himself whispering desperate questions to Edgar, attempting to decipher the ominous symbolism etched into the edifice's bones. The old man's gaze seemed to drift to distant horrors as he spoke, his trembling voice weaving cryptic tales of preternatural rituals designed to rouse the slumbering entity. The more he delved, the more he realized the gravity of what he was unearthing. His investigation was no longer about the robbed graves. It was about something unfathomably ancient, horrifically powerful, and inexplicably tied to the city's pulse. His attempts to understand this cosmic horror led him deeper into the labyrinth of Lexington's terrifying underbelly. As his obsession grew, he noticed an uncanny synchronicity in everything around him. Each stolen grave, each displaced stone, each homeless narrative, they were not isolated incidents, but meticulously arranged pieces in a grand, horrifying cosmic puzzle. William stood in a freshly robbed grave under a starless night, his trembling hands clutching a stolen relic marked with the same eerie symbol. Around him, the city of Lexington seemed to echo with the cryptic hymns of an unseen nightmare. The universe's ancient and indifferent eyes stared back at him, revealing a horrific truth that made his blood run cold. He was not just investigating the grave robberies. He was an integral part of the unfolding cosmic drama. As the relentless drum of cosmic horror echoed through Lexington's labyrinthine streets, William found himself standing on the precipice of an unthinkable abyss. The city that had once been a beacon of life and history was now a spectral stage for an unfolding cosmic drama, and he, its chosen protagonist. His days were consumed by a feverish quest to comprehend the incomprehensible, his nights filled with terrifying visions of ancient rituals and spectral entities. His obsession with the cosmic dread had unmasked an unbearable reality, blurring the lines between the living city and its unseen nightmare. His interactions within the cryptic shelter became cryptic explorations of fear and confusion. The once comforting presence of Lily's laughter now echoed with unsettling implications. Ben's ambitions bore the weight of an ancient cosmic curse. Mary's midnight terrors had become his own, the shared nightmare morphing into an omnipresent dread. The symbol, the robbed graves, the disconcerting tales. They were all pieces in the intricate puzzle of cosmic horror, and his existence was the final piece. His name, written in whispers of the city's underbelly, in the etchings of the homeless shelter, in the stolen remnants of the graves, predestined him for a role in the unfathomable design. Beneath the spectral half-light, he found himself drawn to the heart of the city. The pulsating streets led him to a freshly robbed grave, the eerie symbol adorning the displaced tombstone. He could feel the cosmic forces converging, his every heartbeat resonating with the city's own rhythm, echoing the impending summoning. His desperate attempts to resist the dread proved futile. He was not just observing the horror, he was living it, a hapless puppet in the ancient, cosmic performance. The cold earth beneath him began to tremble, resonating with an ominous hum that echoed through the city's ancient foundations. The cryptic shelter's silhouette loomed ominously against the darkened skyline, a silent witness to the unfolding cosmic drama. His ultimate moments were a reflection of his journey, a final, terrifying encounter with the ancient entity. Its manifestation, an indescribable horror that shattered his sanity, took form under the veil of the starless night. His final breaths echoed with the city's haunting lullaby, his existence dissolving into the grand tapestry of cosmic horror. William Hart, the sincere journalist, the relentless investigator, the silent observer, died not in his home, but in the indifferent arms of the universe. His dissolution marked not the end, but a mere footnote in the ancient narrative of the cosmic entity. The eerie serenity of the dawn broke over the city of stone and shadows. The sun's first rays kissed the limestone structures. The homeless shelter regained its quiet stoicism, and the graves bore the weight of the silent night's terrors. Yet beneath the deceptive calm, the city pulsated with the lingering presence of the cosmic entity, a grim reminder of the futility of human endeavor against the ancient, indifferent forces of the universe. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.